What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Stay Hot live stream. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spinauer and Theo Ash. Theo's shaking his head because I didn't know the USA was playing a soccer game today.
You not even check Twitter. I mean, Theo was tweeting about it.
I was wondering for a while. I was like, why is his name have the American flag in it?
Like, that's not even not knowing about soccer. That's a little bit of like context clues here. He's talking about players you don't know. What did you think was happening?
It could be baseball. It could be baseball.
No, it couldn't be baseball.
Man, come on.
Oh my god! But what a fucking match, man! Round of 16. I don't know if I've ever seen the. I think they made it there in like 2010, but I don't think they made it there in 2014, and they didn't make the World Cup at all. So I'm excited. Neither of my co-hosts watched this game. I am just sick to my stomach.
Oh, please. I don't like soccer that much. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. That game was crazy. I had to miss the England one, so I can't talk too much because I was.
I watched that one. I watched that one while the Cincinnati game was going on.
I had to miss that one though because I flew home for Thanksgiving.
You have to plan around it. If you're not a real fan,
I couldn't do anything about it. About it.
It's okay, Theo. You're forgiven.
But
I forgive you.
Did they make it to the group stage in 2014? Okay, I don't remember. They lost to Belgium. Yes, I remember the Tim Howard game. I thought that was. I had it in my head that one was, that one was to go to the group stage. But I guess that now that I think about it, you're right. That one was. But at any rate, it was an exciting game. I thought, they really battled, man. There were a ton of injuries. Pulisic got hurt after I called him Tualisic, which I thought was a good joke. But then he immediately scored and made me look silly, which is honestly even more like Tua. That's even more Tua-esque than anything else he could have done. So yeah, the last Iran shot. Oh my God, when the ball, it's like the 97th minute or something, and Iran takes a shot and it goes in between the keeper's legs, and it's just sitting there out in front of the goal for something that would eliminate us for like 5 seconds, and it was just out there for anyone to take. It was crazy. It was crazy. I know there's only 1-0, and Matt's talking shit. Oh, it's so exciting. Only 1-0. That one, that was a crazy game.
There's almost 2 goals. That is pretty sweet.
I want to talk about that. So
the offside
rule, it has my VAR take on the. I didn't realize how much.
Yeah, explain this to me. I'm kind of confused as to what.
So on the Stay Hot TikTok account, I made a VAR video.
Okay.
And I said that it's unnecessary, and it goes against the spirit of the rule of offsides. And I think it has 1 million views because it hit like British TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
So offsides is when a player is past the last line of defense. So there's a defender, the last one, and if he is past that guy, he is offsides.
It's like hockey.
Oh, no, because the hockey has the blue line.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Hockey has a blue line, and it's.
But like you can't. But you also can't like beat a defender there, right? Or you can't beat the puck.
So once the puck goes past the blue line, or gets cleared out of the attacking third, everyone has to go past the blue line, and the first person to enter the blue line has to have the puck. You can't just camp out, and so there's a set line. In soccer, that line moves with whoever the last defender is.
Okay.
And the reason they do this is so people cannot just camp like by the goal and just cherry pick shots, right? They can't just hang out past all the defenders and hope a ball gets kicked their way and then they can score. You have to make a run, right? That's the spirit of the rule. No camping, no setting up, no making early runs. But now with VAR. And this wasn't even a VAR decision. This was just a ref decision today. If you are even, I mean, like an inch offside, like a kneecap offsides, like past the defender, the goal is called off. Like today we had a goal called off because like someone's knee was offsides. Both of his feet were in line with the last defender, but just like a small sliver of him was past him. And I think that's kind of against the spirit of the rule. I think the spirit of the rule is like, don't be past him. Don't make a run too early. Don't be cherry picking goals. But if you make the run and you time it up so your feet are literally in line with him, and maybe you're like, because you're leaning forward a little bit, you're like slightly past him. To me, that's a good run. To me, that is not the purpose of offsides, is to call something that slight and
Let
call off
let
goals.
let me ask you this: if as an edge rusher, if I time it a millisecond too early and am offsides, should that be offsides?
I mean, it depends. I think that if they time it and you time it like pretty well, and by the time you like start moving and the ball is snapped, like if you time it right as the ball is snapped, I think that you can call that a pretty good, like a good jump on the ball. And but I think it's a little different in soccer, just because that happens a little bit more occasionally and is a little bit more momentous to the impact of the game. I think it's against the spirit. It's kind of like there's calls like this in every sport, like false start in football. Does twitching like this really give anyone any kind of like? I guess maybe it does, because if a defender is watching the line,
Right.
it can cause them to jump off sides, but. Or like, for example, Taylor Heineke, when he took a knee versus the Eagles and got hit, right? It is against the letter of the law to hit a guy who gave himself up, right? You can't hit a defenseless player. But when they wrote that rule, they wrote it with like a guy walking back to the huddle in mind, or a quarterback who's like slid and come to a stop. You can't like pile on top of them. They didn't write it with a guy like in the middle of the play about to get hit, all of a sudden taking a knee, and like within a half a second as the whistle is still blowing, getting hit. Like that's such a bang.
Yeah, but like you have to take that into consideration when.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do. You have to have some sort of like, there has to be a line.
Yeah,
right?
The common sense line is what it's called. If someone is giving themselves up and you hit them like within like, literally, it's not a situation where someone normally slides. He's literally scrambling, and then you like fall to the ground, and like half a second later, like in the heat of the moment, he gets touched or hit. That's common sense. That's not what the rule was there for. It's not there to protect guys who are about to get hit, all of a sudden give themselves up and like are going to try to bait a foul. That's not what they made.
Do you think Heineke was trying to bait a penalty?
Mm-hmm. He flopped. He got hit and he flopped.
He didn't flop. He took a knee and he got hit. Yeah, that's a penalty.
No, it's not. Dude, no, it is not. No, it is not. It is a bad call. It is not the letter of, like, yes, it in the rule book you can like read into it that way, but use even a shred of common sense and you will know that is not the point of that rule. It's not to protect guys who are flopping and taking a knee right before they get hit. It is so guys don't get hit when they're defenseless. That is the point of the rule. And I feel the same way about offsides, where it's like, if it's this, like, you just don't need to call stuff that it's not meant for like shoulders and knees. It's meant for when, you make the run like way too early. That's what it's meant for. But it gets so granular that it really just kind of disrupts the flow of the game, and I think goes against the spirit of what the rule was intended to do. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Maybe. I don't know. All right. I don't know. It's it can definitely be a tough call to kind of read. But I guess the big thing is, like, in the NFL, they don't review penalties in the NFL.
That's the other thing, is I don't like reviewing.
And I think that's kind of what you were getting at more. Like, I can get the bang bang stuff, right? And I think that can be a debate that kind of goes back and forth. But I think the idea of, like, they tried reviewing pass interference in the NFL, realized that was a terrible idea.
Yeah, reviewing penalties in general is just, reviews are just bad. I think, like, obviously there's some stuff you want to get, like challenges.
You review touchdowns,
touchdowns, I get it. Goals, I get it. Like handballs, I get it. But like, I don't know, for some offsides that are like so close, man. There's been offsides that have been called off that are like, it's an exciting moment, and then it's just so anticlimactic to see it taken away because of someone's kneecap was like barely off. It's just like stuff like that it's just so granular. I just don't think it was ever meant to be that granular. I think that like it's okay to let some stuff slide, and we don't need to like ruin moments by like I mean, how many classic moments in soccer history like maybe were a half an inch offside? Like it just
Well,
like
then it would be a
I get
classic
it,
moment.
I
It would be a
get it,
classic
but
moment for someone else. Like,
it's not though. It's not the spirit of the rule. I think.
I guess.
But obviously getting calls wrong is also bad, and that's kind of the the battle is like, well, if it's right, it's right. But I think like the spirit, I just don't think it's in line with the kind of the spirit of the rule. But
Matt, people are complimenting your lighting right now, saying you're
Oh,
glowing.
it's too bright. I'm a little overexposed, but you make it work.
He's glowing.
I don't. My Wi-Fi just went out. Spectrum. Some of you text. We have an outage in the area. Oh,
the
so
comment
stop.
the comments
What?
are saying that the Heineke thing is an L. No, this one is just not an L. It is. That really frustrates me because literally, if you go back and watch that play, the whistle is still blowing when Graham like makes that hit, which isn't even really like a bad hit. It's something that every NFL quarterback takes multiple times a game. It was nothing egregious. A game should never end on something that ticky-tack. Totally anticlimactic and not in the spirit of the rule. Like just less ref involvement and less reviews is just I'm always in favor of it. And yeah, there's just no
85% of roughing the passer is bullshit,
yeah, and
if
it's
not
like
more. It's
I'll
a
give you.
terrible rule. It really and the number of drives that get overturned because of it is completely ridiculous. I don't care. I don't care if they took one step. It's for like players intentionally trying to hit the quarterback over, like trying to make a play, and people vastly overestimate in slow mo how
right,
much of a chance they have to stop
right.
themselves.
Yes,
Slow
exactly.
mo has ruined a lot. Slow mo has done so much regression for sports.
Does need to be less slow motion replay. Sometimes I think like especially with kind of catch fumbles when people like
Oh
determine
my
like they
gosh.
catch it and then they get hit immediately and then they fumble and then they'll slow it down to like 1/100th of actual speed and they're like, well, actually right here in this moment he had possession, and then if you watch it in full speed it's like pretty clear it like hit him in the chest and then he like got rocked immediately and fumbled, or some of the
Yeah.
possession stuff. I feel like watching in real time gives you a better idea of what actually is possible and not. And sometimes I think like watching something in full motion and in full speed kind of gives you kind of an impressive, it makes seeing something at full speed is impressive because it kind of shows you just how quick the catch was, how quick the read was, how quick like just the speed of the play is sometimes impressive. And that's why like some alternate angles of like some fan cam will go viral like the next day because it's never in slow motion. It's like, well, there it is in real time. I do think
Yeah.
like real time replays are kind of on slow motion be kind of overused sometimes. And yeah, with penalties and it really, especially anything where it's like, well, would you have had time to slow up? Would you have time? That should always be viewed in real time and not slow motion because that helps give some context of how much time there actually was.
Why are people saying I did it? I saved Blaiden. I don't. I don't get it.
Yes, Bladen name one footballer. Do you know anyone on the men's national team?
Who's the guy that scored today? Was it Pulisic? Is
There
that his
you
name?
go. Okay,
I don't
okay,
know his first name, but
there we go.
I heard about him as I was joining this call. Um,
So who do we play now?
We play the
Who do we?
Netherlands.
Oh, we'll beat them.
oh, that's who I always. That's
They're
where I always
tiny.
connect for my VPN is Netherlands.
The Netherlands. I don't know that. I mean, I don't. I watched one Netherlands game, their opening group stage game. They've got Frankie De Jong is his name, and
He sucks.
he's ass. Yeah, the worst player, most overrated player ever, and sadly will be defeated by the greatness of the United States of America. But yeah, that's kind of my whole soccer and VAR and offsides rant. But yeah,
Okay. No,
yeah.
I can understand, but I can see how controversial that can be. I don't know if I have a hard opinion on it right now as far as the replay thing I can get. Like that's definitely like I don't know if I agree with that being in. But anywho, did you guys watch the Colts and Steelers play last night?
I watched some of it. I watched like the first half, and then I was
I
bored.
was watching basketball
Watch
instead.
two horrifically mid teams battle it out for being who's the most horrifically mid team in the AFC.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I mean, that was more boring than this soccer game. I'll say that. But yeah. I kind of thought my takeaway is Pickett looked all right again. I think he's looked kind of okay in a couple games now, and I don't know about him. I think that he's got a high-ish floor. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't think that he's gonna suck. I don't think he's gonna be like a total failure. Um, at this point, I think he does a decent job keeping his eyes downfield. He's got some rushing ability. He's thrown some picks, but um, he
It's in
hasn't had
his
a
name.
lot of turnover-worthy plays. It's just they've all gotten caught. It was a stat I saw yesterday. So I think with him, like he made an amazing throw to Pickens in the last game, like an absolute seed up the sideline. He's got like I don't think he has a crazy arm or anything, but he's always kind of discount Burrow to me / maybe like Gucci Heineke is like he lives in that world where he's like
Difference is Heineke's a winner. You know.
Heineke is a winner. Heineke is a winner, but I think maybe there's a world where Pickett. The thing is like the only thing with him is like the supporting cast is all. I mean, Matt Canada stinks. So like, and he's predictable, and his play calling is always a little, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a lot of motion that doesn't really do anything. Like motion, okay, what was the purpose of that? Like now you're just
Yeah.
kind of overcomplicating things, and it's not actually like helping. It's like someone tried to draw the Shanahan offense from memory is kind of like what they're doing over there.
When you
So,
try
but
and
other
just
than that, like
memorize the practice test instead of actually learning the material.
right, the weapons are all right, and the offensive line is maybe even a little better than I thought. So it's like, well, when is he going to play with? They need a better offensive line. Need a better OC, but like, what's the ceiling really with him? Because he doesn't have a crazy arm. But I don't know. He can be fine. I think he could be fine. So I don't know. That's not like really a glowing um, review of him, but I know some question is like, whoa, if the Steelers get a really high draft pick, do you take a quarterback? And I think in this class, I'm feeling pretty good that the answer is no right now, and you stick around with Pickett for a while and see if you can build something around him that on a with a quarterback on a rookie deal. Maybe he's not great, but can he be, you know, can he be Tua? Can he be Jimmy G? Can he be, some sort of like give you a little bit of rushing ability? And yeah, you don't draft a quarterback. You see what you can build around him because you can win some games with a quarterback of Kenny Pickett's caliber, and I think that's what they should be looking to do. That's kind of where I'm at with them.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys. Oh, you got some, Matt? Or...
No, I was just agreeing. I think people have become too low on Will Levis.
I think so too. I think so too. Like he's not like he's talented, man. There's a play against Illinois State or something, which you might be like, oh, Illinois State, where like off of his back foot he threw it like 75 yards to like the opposite corner of the end zone in stride.
He can sling it, man.
Yeah, I mean he's tough and he has some mobility. He's not like a mobile quarterback, but he's not a complete statue back there. I don't know. He's a talented guy and pretty tough player, and he operated a pretty pro-ish type of offense. So, I think that he's someone that I haven't watched him a ton. Obviously, we've talked to him. Seems like pretty decent guy. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Not that being a decent guy makes you a great NFL player, but
Yeah, but it helps for like locker room chemistry. And
right.
speaking of locker room and quarterbacks and teams that might need a quarterback, I was seeing Richard Sherman talk about the Jets and Zach Wilson and Mike White, and he was saying that he thinks Mike White's their guy. Like Mike White is the franchise quarterback there in New York. And that if Mike White had the same label of Zach Wilson, the same story of second overall pick, and he's playing really well, they would say, well, they just got their franchise quarterback. But because Zach Wilson is the guy that's supposed to have potential, then he's been getting all of like, well, he still has potential, and they'll bring him back. And Mike White's just like a guy, and he's playing fine now, but he's not actually supposed. And it's just like a label thing. And I wonder what I wonder what you guys' take on that is. I don't know how I feel about that.
I haven't watched Mike White's performance yet.
Well, he can run an offense all right, but a franchise quarterback is a pretty high label to put on him.
I mean, he's played well a couple different times before. He had, a couple good performances last year where he had like 5 touchdowns versus Cincinnati. And I remember reviewing that one and thinking he plays real fast. Like he may not be the fastest guy, but he gets through reads pretty fast and he reacts to open guys pretty fast. So he's very much someone who once he finds someone open, he has really good reaction time and can get it to him. And that's all they need right now, right? That's all they need. Their defense is great. Their skill position players, Garrett Wilson had another 100-yard, like 2-touchdown game. Now that Zach Wilson isn't terrorizing the offense, like they've got, I think, a potential superstar wide receiver. They've got their running game is pretty beat up right now, but so maybe and the offensive line isn't great. So maybe he's not even working with like a great like offensive structure here. Obviously, Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are talented, but to put up the numbers he put up, but the Bears defense reeks. It absolutely reeks. Jaquan Brisker was not playing, and what's his name? The second round pick out of Washington, Kyler Gordon, was not playing. So we got to see it against. I got to see it a little bit longer. I could definitely see a world where he remains efficient, because he's had multiple good performances now. But yeah, the Bears name 5 players on the Bears defense right now. It's like Jack Sanborn.
Last year, Mike White played in 4 games against the Bills. He went 24 for 44, 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. Like,
yeah, right.
That's really bad. Against the Colts, 7 for 11, 1 touchdown, no picks, but that's like 11 throws. Like, what kind of sample size is that?
Well,
the Bengals
gave him 11 throws.
Yeah, the Bengals game is the good one. He did have 37 for 45, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. So like that's a good game, and we can.
Yeah, we need to. He's had some stinkers. That's
but
absolutely
like
true.
you need. So he's had 2 good games against the Bengals last year and the Bears this year.
You realize how much I'm thinking about this because if they believed in Zach Wilson at all, they start him in this game, even with the disaster class. Because if you need a guy to start building up some confidence and stringing some games together, play him against this defense, right?
Like that's the game to do it.
Like they have no edge rushers. They've got like Justin Jones is their team captain, and he was one of the guys on the Chargers like front 7 last year that gave up like a historically bad like rushing defense, and he's a captain now. He's a captain. One of the worst players on the Chargers last year is a captain on this defense. You got Jack Sanborn, might be their best defensive player right now. He's in like an undrafted rookie. You've got if you thought he could turn it around, you would play him in this game, right? And all of a sudden, he would probably be fine too. Like Zach Wilson has had fine performances when you like force him to just throw it 16 times into the flat, and then he has like a 10 for 16 for 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks game, and people would be like, well, just against non-Belichick defenses, he's all right. Like, but they just don't trust him at all. If you're not going to play him against this defense, like when are you going to play him again? Week 1 next year, I guess. If that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know.
People are.
You got it, Matt.
People are talking about next year's quarterback draft class. Are we not worried a little bit that we're doing what we did last year with this year's class, or no? Are we like this is the second year in a row that we've been doing? Oh, next year's class is actually perfect. And then we get to it, and it's like actually there's one guy and he has flaws, and
Well,
everybody.
I think that this year's draft class does have 3 first rounders in it at least. I think Stroud and Young and Levis are all pretty much locked to go in the first round, which I don't think you could say for. I mean, as much as like Young and Stroud are easily better than anyone I saw last year. Like Malik Willis was getting hyped for a top 5 pick.
But
And
that's not what I'm talking. The draft class wasn't like, well, it's better than last year's. Well, yeah, last year's was one of the worst quarterback draft classes we've seen in a long time.
Right.
It's that this draft class is supposed to be like otherworldly. Like there's several guys who are going to go. Like there's going to be like maybe one guy drafted in the top 5.
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, do you mean like next year's draft class, like the Caleb Williams class?
Caleb Williams and
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think it would take a lot for Caleb Williams to not be the number 1 overall pick and more highly regarded than these guys. I think you can just see like he's got a lot of the creativity and that Bryce Young does, but with more arm strength and he's bigger, right? He's built better. And you could maybe say, well, he's not as accurate as Bryce Young. There might be some holes to pick there. You might say, if you play like Mahomes, but you're only 70% of Mahomes, like where does that leave you? And you might say, oh, he's a Lincoln Riley merchant. You might say he's had all day and he has Jordan Addison. Like I think these are all holes that are going to get poked in Caleb Williams' game, but still, I do think it would take a lot to change for him to be regarded as a worse prospect than either of the top 2 guys in this class or top 3 if Levis ends up going pretty high. So I think I don't know about Ewers, I don't know about Rattler if he goes out or whoever else, but I do think that Caleb Williams, yes, there will be more holes poked in his game as we get closer to the draft class, but I can't imagine he's not going to be pretty damn highly regarded. And really, like Bryce Young, I mean, I don't think that the narrative on him is all too different than it was at the end of last year, is it?
I'm not saying that Caleb Williams is not going to be great.
Right.
I'm saying that people are coming up with this huge list of quarterback names, and it's like, dude, Ewers has not been good this year. Ewers has and I like Ewers. He's struggled. Drake May, I watched him. I'm uninterested at the moment. Here, just someone said JJ McCarthy in the chat. What are we talking about? This is we don't have to really evaluate them right now. Stuff. I just think that Caleb Williams is awesome, but
right.
this is like let's at least see next year before we start calling every next year's quarterback draft class legendary.
Yeah. I think that we definitely gotta cool it a little bit on that. But Caleb Williams is him, so I get the excitement. I do. But I don't know about Drake May. I haven't seen it. See, people did the same thing with Howell. Yeah, everyone was really excited about Sam Howell. Everyone loved him until
everyone loved Howell. It was Howell?
It was Howell and Rattler.
Yeah, it was Howell and Rattler. And then I started pushing Corral. And then as we got closer, everyone was like, actually, all of these guys stink.
yeah. Howell was a really interesting fall because Howell was legit a first round. He went in the 5th round, man. And I don't even blame him because I was not impressed with he legitimately is just like, looks like Baker out there. He just, like he throws a nice.
I've seen this before.
He throws a nice 9 ball. Like I think go routes are the number 1 tricker. Like go routes trick people more than like any other throw in football is like, a nice 9 ball is a beautiful throw and a high impact throw, but really arm strength comes down to and anticipation and accuracy a lot of times come from throws in between the numbers, right? If you throw it out in front of someone on a go ball, it's probably either going to fall incomplete or, it's going to be a great catch if you throw it right. But there's a lot more that can go wrong, and it takes a lot more guts, and it takes a lot more kind of understanding of space to throw it over the middle. And I think Howell didn't show any of that, but since he hit a few nice like go balls, everyone really got tricked. But then he ended up going in the 5th round. So
yeah,
obviously the league didn't get tricked. So yeah. He played all right in the preseason, though. I remember he was like fine in the preseason.
Corral looked all right in practice.
No, he looks all right in practice clips that the social media team releases.
Hey,
I mean, he went
all
1
that
for 9
matters.
in the preseason, right? When he got hurt.
Preseason, schmee season.
We'll see.
Uh,
We'll see. Jordan Love is better than most QBs in this class.
oh yeah, what were your thoughts on Jordan Love?
He played well. I mean, he played well. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Jordan Love fan. I think I kind of doubt that he's going to be everything he was billed to be, but that was definitely kind of eye-opening and strides better than the last time we saw him when Aaron missed that game with COVID last year against the Chiefs. He had a really crazy hole shot to the running back Aaron Jones that got dropped. And there was a play where he threw it across his body to Randall Cobb that got broken up, and that could have been defensive pass interference. He's just got a lot of zip. He's got a ton of zip with the ball leaving his hands. And as I said, I mean, he has a chance I think he has an arm that's pretty up there with like anyone. Like you can say the top 3 are Allen and Herbert and Mahomes.
Right.
Like after that, Love's arm talent, like just the raw power that he's got is I mean, it's probably above anyone else other than those 3. Like maybe you could put Wentz up there in terms of raw throw, like arm strength, but like I think you really saw the ball leave his hands with a lot of zip and made some really impressive, accurate throws. And obviously not a huge sample size, but it was encouraging. I was encouraging.
Encouraging is always a good thing.
Yeah.
At the very least,
I'd like to see him. I think the
value a little
ideal
bit.
situation for the Packers would be like just being like, Aaron, you're hurt. Sit down. I think that would be the most logical way to resolve this is like, let's see what we have in Love. Aaron, just you're hurt. Your thumb is broken. I don't know what the hell happened to his ribs in the Eagles game, but he was hurt then. Just sit the fuck down and let's see what you're not getting benched. You just don't have it because your thumb is broken. Like, let's sit down and evaluate what we have in Love. If you could just say that to him and he would accept it, that would be the easiest thing to do. I think the most simple solution. And if he retires, he retires. And if he comes back healthy next year, he comes back healthy and hopefully with a little bit more help in the receiving core. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. But he's playing against the Bears. It'll probably look awesome because the Bears defense stinks and he owns Chicago, like I've said. So he'll probably look fine. But
he does own them, and he has made that very clear.
Yes.
What else has happened? What other things have been going on? Matt, the weather's been pretty nice. Have you gotten to go golfing recently?
I did go golf today.
I saw the B-roll.
Hey!
I didn't play all that great, unfortunately, but I haven't been in a while. I started to turn up a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, got to get back into the swing of things, literally.
Right.
I was looking at some cornerback stats today because I'm doing a video on Jalen Ramsey, and I saw a J.C. Horn statistic that I think might be worth mentioning since we talked about it and how he was doing on the show a couple days ago. There's a stat just called positive rate, which is just when they're targeted and how often does it result in a positive play, basically
for the offense.
For the offense, so a lower number is better.
Yeah, okay.
A lower number is better. Let's see if I can get it pulled up right here. I think Horn is 4th in that statistic right now. Something like
he's better than Surtain.
I think he does rank positive. It's Awuzie at number 1, who tore his ACL. He's at 26%. James Bradbury is number 2.
I kind of buy that. He's had a pretty good year.
And then J.C. Horn is number 3. He's number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Surtain is top 10 there. So, maybe if he is drawing harder matchups or whatever it is, or plays more man coverage, you could argue Surtain's had the more successful season. Tyson Campbell is really underrated. He's up there in the top 10. Ahmad Gardner is number 8. So obviously that is good. Other guys like Asante Samuel Jr. and Marshawn Lattimore are also in the top 15. Slay is at 18. Marlon Humphrey is at 20. So definitely some big names up there, and it kind of checks out with the eye test. for a lot of these guys. But yeah, just giving you some JC Horn prop and also Ahmad Gardner prop there.
If you had to redraft last year's draft right now, Gardner number 1.
Would be the number 1 overall pick?
Yep.
I think that's probably true. I mean, I'd probably rather have him than definitely rather have him than Hutchinson. Probably rather have him than Trayvon Walker, who would be the offensive player of the year. Pierce right now, like maybe you take Olave or Garrett Wilson, but yeah, I think that Gardner probably would go number 1. Yeah, wouldn't he?
We'll look back in a
Where
couple
does
years.
where does Stingley rank in that?
Who cares? He stinks.
Stinkly.
Him going over Gardner makes me so mad. I can't believe it.
It was gonna happen. Like
I was overthinking.
Let's see. He is number 30, so that's not a bad mark for him at all. Yeah, he's number 30.
Okay.
Out of like 116 qualifying guys.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
Not bad.
that's pretty good mark for him as well. You know who's dead last?
Who?
CJ Henderson.
Yeah, he sucks. I've been saying he sucks forever. I can't believe they traded a 3rd-round pick for him. If a team is trading a guy that they drafted in the 1st round, they're not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really that easy. It's really that simple.
You're right.
Yeah. Eric Stokes is 114. He's the 3rd worst.
Any Browns guys near the bottom or near the top?
Greg Newsome is near the bottom.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good this year. I buy that.
And Denzel Ward is also near the bottom. To be
Denzel's weird because every once in a while he'll be like good in coverage, but then a lot of times it's mostly just like he makes a big hit and he'll feel the run game really well. But I'd say overall, like I've kind of turned the corner on trading him.
You're not getting a top 3 pick for him, I fear.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
We can trade Kareem though. I'm still on that. Trade Kareem Hunt.
Where is Dante Jackson? Let's see if I can find.
Done, right? He has no more contract.
Yeah,
Dante Jackson's.
It was too late. So.
No.
Dante Jackson is on this list. Oh, I'm scrolling. I haven't seen him yet. That's good.
Scrolling back to the top, you mean?
He is 62.
Okay.
So he's
nice.
Kind of in the middle. He's kind of in the middle, which is maybe better than I thought he would be, but definitely like mid.
Yeah. Oh well. Don't spoil the Ramsey video too much. We'll
Ramsey he's like, I don't know. He's definitely lower than you would like to see Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. That's not as good as JC Horn.
Not as good as Pat Surtain.
I'm about to tweet after this is done some of the most egregious JC Horn propaganda. Just start naming big name cornerbacks. I'll say he's better than.
He's the best. You just have to say he's the best in the league. Him and Ahmad Gardner. Those are your top 2.
Literally.
You wouldn't be too far off. They're both very good.
They are.
But yes, he's
Yeah, I'll tweet that now.
Let
me sit up towards my computer real quick. Let's.
Matt's over here like when you're playing a video game. It's like time to get. She's like, all right, let me sit up.
I should be pushing more Tyson Campbell agendas though. He's a really good player on the Jaguars. So yeah, he's pretty incredible. AJ Terrell started to regain form since his week 1 to 2 struggles. Yeah, I mean he's not really high on this list. AJ Terrell's not very high on the success rate list, but I maintain that he has been in good position a lot of the time and just gets like dunked on by an amazing catch. Like that has happened so many times this season where I'm like, that is good coverage, and the wide receiver just caught it anyway. So
yeah,
I still trust him in big matchups, and I still think he's one of the better corners, but he does not rank super highly in any kind of stats this year.
Someone was saying Josh Jacobs needs to be considered an offensive player of the year discussions.
He's not Tyreek.
He's not Tyreek, and he's not Chubb either. Like, I don't
Well-
think that he's been better than Chubb this season.
Maybe.
How many yards does he have? More yards?
He does now.
Oh, well.
Oh.
Josh
admit
Jacobs
that he
leads
was-
the league in rushing yards. He has 9 touchdowns, and he has 5.4 yards per attempt, which is also more than Chubb.
So he's better than Chubb now.
The only runners with more yards per carry in like the top 15 yardage wise.
He also has more
is-
EPA per play than Chubb with a worse offensive line. So
Yeah.
maybe he is better than Chubb this season, actually. I still think Chubb's the better player, but
Yeah, I agree, but like it's like ETN has 5.5 yards per attempt.
he messed up his foot again, didn't he?
Did he?
He did.
Okay.
Common Clemson L.
Good. Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields both have 6.8 yards per attempt, but they're quarterbacks. You kind of expect that. Pollard's 5.6, but then it's Jacobs, and he leads the league in rushing at 5.4 yards per attempt and 105.4 yards per game. And he's only fumbled 1 time.
Not sorry, dude. Running back wins are hard against him. He's 4-7.
That Tyreek is probably the
We'll
Offensive
see.
player
What
of
did
the year.
Tyreek do against the Texans? I didn't hear much. So
He had like 85 yards, I think.
did he? All right. Well, that's pretty good.
well.
I still
I'm
think
trying to-
Tyreek Hill. I think that he completely 6 catches, 85 yards, no touchdowns. Yeah, that's not nothing at all. But yeah, I would still probably lean Tyreek. I think that like he's kind of MVP skill position player at the moment.
Justin Jefferson is right on his heels.
Jefferson's up there too. It's a race. I think it is a race, but I would still probably lean Hill. I'd probably still lean
Tyreek has 1 more yard.
Tyreek better.
Jefferson.
Tyreek. Well, that
But
sounds like-
Jefferson
Tyreek-
has 1 more touchdown. And
I'd rather
touchdowns are
have
worth
1
more than
yard.
yards. How many yards is a touchdown
Whoever
worth?
has the most fantasy points, I say.
Yeah, well, that would probably be Jefferson.
It would probably be
no.
Jefferson. Well,
Who
Tyreek
has
does
more
have
first
6.
downs.
Tyreek has 6 more catches.
So he's got him by 0.1 points right now. There you go. That's the guy.
Whoever's the most fantasy points, that's the offensive player of the year.
Who do you think? Let's look at the estimated the EPA per target.
The estimated points added.
We'll see. In terms of
fair-
well, actually, Jalen Waddle is at the top of this list.
Well, he's the offensive player of the year.
in terms of EPA, and then it's Tyreek, and then it's Diggs, and then it's Jefferson, and then it's Kelce, and then it's T.
I'll see
Higgins,
for offensive player of the year then.
and then it's T. Higgins.
Bro, yeah, no,
And then
honestly,
it's-
give me
You will
Kelce.
never guess the next name in terms of EPA added per, or just not even per target, just total EPA. The next
Total
guy
EPA?
is crazy.
Wait, who
Laviska-
are the first few?
The first all make perfect, like pretty much perfect sense. It's Waddle, Hill, Diggs, Jefferson, Kelce, T. Higgins, and then there's Devontae Adams is up there, Terry McLaurin is up there, but
Is it it's a receiver?
it's a receiver in the AFC West. I will say that.
A receiver in the AFC West.
What is it, like Josh Palmer or something? Or
No,
Is it Juju?
nope. Juju's up there
Oh.
though.
He's been pretty good this year.
It's total-
Um,
well, Garsh, I don't know.
It is Mac Hollins.
Yo, no, I should have guessed that. He's been a baller in fantasy for us. Like
It is Mac Hollins.
he is
out.
like twice this year he has like saved us. Except this week he couldn't save us because we benched Miles Sanders.
Yeah, we benched Miles Sanders. Oops.
Which we were right to start Rashad White, but we should have benched Damian Pierce.
Yeah. Oops.
Oops.
Blame the
Whoopsie.
projected numbers though. They projected wrong. Don't
They
blame
pro-
us. But yeah, that was our bad. But yes,
Win some, you lose some.
People are shrugging off Josh Jacobs. Yep. Don't care. Loser.
Bro's a Josh Jacobs hater. This is crazy.
No, he's actually on my fantasy team. He's very good.
Josh Jacobs was the guy I made that like fake fantasy guy video.
I
with
know,
the, like, like noise in the background, and I was talking like, "This is league winner. No one's talking about." And I talked about Josh Jacobs in my My parody fantasy football
And you
video
ended
was
up
better.
being right.
Ended up being completely right.
That's
Um,
crazy.
They were all, I don't know why all the fantasy people were fading him. Like they cut Kenyon Drake, and he was the only back
Because
that
he had
deserved
been
touches in
inefficient.
offense that was going to be good.
He was going to be in he had always been inefficient, and the Raiders didn't pick up his 5th year, so they're like, "Oh, well, they don't really want to give him the rock."
Well, they want to give him the rock even more because they don't care if they run him into the ground because he's not their problem next year.
But he been inefficient, bad offensive line. Like I kind of get it. I know a lot of people got him like
he had
real
receiving
late.
upside. The guy had like 64 targets the year before. They cut Kenyon Drake. I just didn't understand why everyone was so low on him. He had receiving upside. He was a lead back and a good offense and like kind of a good player. So I don't know. Everyone hated, but yeah.
Where did I get this jacket from? Abercrombie and Fitch. Yo, can we please get an Abercrombie sponsorship? All of their clothes.
Is man.
What?
We're not like that, man.
Bro, Abercrombie's goated.
I don't disagree.
I'm like, I just dropped like $500 at Abercrombie. Like,
had to throw the dollar sign.
Like, what'd you say?
That had to throw up the dollar sign there.
No, bro. Like, their clothes are so nice. This jacket's from Abercrombie. All of my jeans are from Abercrombie. I have a few other button-ups from Abercrombie. This T-shirt's from Abercrombie, says Mary Mustang. Like, I love Abercrombie, man.
You know, I got this hat for 98 cents at Axeman Surplus.
Yeah, but that's not Abercrombie. Once
we
get that Abercrombie once we get that Abercrombie sponsorship, you're only wearing Abercrombie.
I'm not wearing any of that Abercrombie. I'm wearing shit I got from Depop.
They have Phoenix Suns graphic hoodies in graphic sweatshirts.
They got that on Depop for half the price, I fear. Actually, no, maybe twice the price, depending on who's selling it. But
yeah, known cheap clothing resource.
Well, actually, what you should do is just look if you find something you like on Depop, Google exactly what it is on eBay, and chances are there's some like old person selling their like son's clothes that he left behind at college, and you can get it for like $10 cheaper on eBay because it's all like a bunch of parents selling stuff, and Depop is a bunch of people price gouging thrift store stuff.
Imagine praising corporations. I don't praise like I dick ride Abercrombie and I dick ride Apple, and that's basically it. And that's only because I have like all Apple products.
Dude, I hate all clothing brands because I hate the corporations.
There's no clothing brand that I particularly like, but I'm also not a big I don't blame you if you do. I like my Mickey's hat though. So.
It suits you.
Thanks.
I like my
the Gahana public pool hat.
City of
It's
Gahana.
my favorite.
I will never get over how much money they spent on that logo, and it's just so bad.
I'm getting my worth out of it right now. I've been getting my worth for years. I've had this hat forever.
What was the marketing budget for that logo?
Considering how many views Matt has while wearing that hat and the amount of exposure that they've gotten from that logo,
no one knows. No one's like, oh my god, look at that. That must be the city of Gahanna, Ohio.
I always have to think extra hard if it's pronounced Gahanna, because I always think of it still as Ghana, like the country in Africa.
Yeah. If you ask Ghana, like Ohio? Any voice assistant, they always pronounce it Gahanna.
But. Yes. Are the Dolphins? Is it crazy to predict this Dolphins in the Super Bowl at this point? Well, we'll learn a lot next. We got a really good slate of games next week, and maybe the best is the Shanahan Bowl of West Coast versus Gulf Coast Kyle Shanahan offense in the 49ers and
Theo, Dolphins. I think you just turned your mic way down.
Oh, I did. I absolutely did. But after the Bradley Chubb trade, I don't think it's crazy to predict them in the Super Bowl. They've been getting some pressure with 4. They don't have to send all their crazy blitzes, and their offense is a buzzsaw. If it continue to look like If it looks like that during the 49ers game, like, yeah, they can win the Super Bowl. If they look more like they did against like Pittsburgh or New England the first time, yeah, then they might not be. So we'll learn a lot, but I don't think it's crazy to say they're a Super Bowl contender right now. I mean, their offense is like totally great. So yeah, I don't think that's crazy.
We're at the NFL game or Red Zone has the witching hour. We're at the witching like month of the season
We
with
are. We
teams
are.
getting eliminated from the playoffs, and we have our first potential week of clinching the playoffs
For
with
who?
the Vikings and Eagles. They could clinch this week.
Could they?
The Vikings could clinch the division this week, and the Eagles could
God, the
clinch
North
playoff
stinks.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's really
damn.
bad.
Well,
Like,
I predict the Vikings will probably get that done.
It was
if
like
not this week.
if the
next.
Vikings win and the Lions lose, if the Vikings win and the Lions lose or tie, then they clinch and they play the Jags. So the Lions play the Jags. Vikings play the Jets. The other scenario would be if the Vikings tied and the Jets or the Lions lost.
Okay, so they just basically need to win and the Lions lose, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty doable. Good game, good slate of games this week, though. Very good slate of games this week. So, yeah, a lot of these are like Jets Vikings. That's good. Even Lions Jaguars, like that. That's not a bad game. I think those are two good bad teams at least. So definitely could be entertaining. So we'll see.
I'm waiting. I'm excited to see how people react to. I've bumped the Washington Commanders pretty far up in my power rankings this week because I was like, all this I've been like, oh, they're not actually that good. They're just feisty. But sometimes feisty can just be good. So I'm like, you know what? I'll give them their props for now.
They're all right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's 7-5. Like I gotta give them
over the last 7 games. I don't know. They've got a really good defense. Daron Payne, much is made of contract year. Josh Jacobs, Daron Payne has been great as well. Obviously, John Allen, Montez Sweat, they're going to get Chase Young back, obviously. I think Jamin Davis, not a perfect player at this point, but is turned into like a salvageable linebacker, which is good because I liked him so much coming out of the draft. Kendall Fuller and Benjamin St. Jude, and then they get 3 safeties on the field a lot. They spend a lot of time with Forrest, Curl, and who's their last guy? Is it Bobby McCain? I almost want to say.
he hasn't been playing, I feel, that great compared to the other two. Forrest is so good. Shout out.
Shout out Derek Forrest, correct. Yeah, I think that he is, or maybe he's a corner. Google says he's a corner. But they play with 3 safeties on the field a lot, with Curl in the box and 2 up high. And Forrest, and I can't remember the other guy's name. So they can match you with a bunch of defensive backs. They can be really fast. They don't really have 2 good linebackers. They've got like Jamin, and then they've got like Cole Holcomb, I think. So it's better for them to have 3 safeties out there than the 2 linebackers, because so they can match you with a lot of speed, and they've got the front to get it done. Yeah, so they're a really good defense. And then Heineke throwing prayers to McLaurin is good enough on offense.
He's over there somewhere.
He's over there somewhere. Lots of crossing routes in the game against there was a lot of play action and then crossing routes in behind it, which is always it's always a good strategy, and you can always manufacture some offense doing that. So yeah, I think they're a good team. I don't think they're top 10 or a like a Super Bowl contender or anything, but like we said in a couple episodes ago, they're not a team that should be totally disrespected. There's definitely things to like.
Yeah.
I watched a really great video. Scott Turner used to be on the Panthers, right, Matt? And there's a video of him out there, and he's just going through a game he called with Kyle Allen at quarterback. And he's just going into why he called everything, and like just kind of going over this game and reviewing like why they called what they did and how they think they executed and what went wrong. And Scott Turner, I've always liked Scott Turner a lot because of this video that I've watched. It's like an hour long. It's like going through a game, and or at least the offensive part of a game, and it does a really nice job kind of explaining like what coordinators are thinking about during a game, and why they call what they call, and what their goals are. If anyone out there ever has like an hour to kill and wants to watch a really good like video from I don't even know what you'd Google, but probably something just like Scott Turner game plan on YouTube. I'll type that in and see if it works.
Send it to
I
me.
like him.
I will probably get drunk next Thursday after I finish my finals, and I'll need something to watch afterwards.
Yeah, go get drunk and watch Scott Turner talking about Kyle Allen. Go out to a bar if you're doing that, man. Go sing some karaoke. Well, you need to watch this. You need to watch the Kyle Allen game film with a clear head.
All right. But, yeah, I think we should probably wrap this up. I actually have to get ready for Battle of the Bands.
Will you win?
I'm trying to gotta defend my title.
How many bands compete?
There are 8 bands
Okay.
playing this time. There were 10 last time, but there's 8 this time. But 2 of the bands last time were like outside, like bands, like that weren't like within the club.
Oh. Okay.
So, yeah. So we have 8 bands. A lot of new bands too. So it'll be interesting because a lot of people graduated and we have a lot of new people. So, but yeah,
All right.
But thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute blast. Maybe I'll try and watch some soccer. Who knows? If someone lets me know that a game is happening, I'll see if I am
watch the
available to
Netherlands
tune
game.
in. When is it?
Netherlands game.
When is it?
I actually am not sure about that. It's probably not for a couple days because the group stage.
7 a.m. Brother, I won't be awake.
That is another soccer L. I just keep saying. Okay.
So 10.
Maybe doable.
Okay. I might be awake,
8,
but
yeah,
I
it's
also
not
might
so
be
bad.
studying because I have exams. But thank you all so much for tuning in. And as always, make sure to check out the Battle of the Bands live stream. Will be on my personal YouTube. I'm going to be live streaming the whole thing. The link is in the bio on my website. So just check that out if you want to watch. But until next time, from Corn Boy, Bird Boy, and Lemon Boy, we will catch you all on the flippity flop.